Yvette Cooper, Liz Kendall and Andy Burnham abstained from voting on the welfare bill.
Do you want me to answer? Yeah. Do you want me to answer that question? I was the only person in Shadow Cabinet who said we should have opposed this bill outright. Why? Because it undermined tax credits and rewrote the law on child poverty. And I made my argument in Shadow Cabinet where the party's position was to simply abstain. Because of the case I made, in the end, the party was made to move its position. It didn't simply abstain, there was a form of opposition. Now, I'd be the first to say that it wasn't good enough. I'd argued for something stronger. But unlike Jeremy, the three of us are bound by collective responsibility. I then faced a choice. Did I resign from the Shadow Cabinet, which is what I would have had to do, rebel and lead all my supporters through the lobbies of the House of Commons when Harriet and everybody else was in the other lobby of the House of Commons? You know, if I had done that, I would have created a huge rift at the heart of this party if I had done that. We had moved our position. It wasn't good enough. But, you know, this party needs to be united when it comes out of this leadership election. And because of the way I have always done my politics, I believe I will be able to unite Labour, because I will be able to turn round to the party and say, the loyalty I've always shown to all of you, I now expect back from you when we oppose Osborne's welfare bill, which is what I have said we will do. You know, you cannot just pursue politics on your own, doing everything to please yourself. You have to obey the kind of principle that has always underpinned our movement, that unity is strength. If we are not a strong, united opposition, what will we be? The last time we argued amongst ourselves as a Labour Party, in the early 1980s, we left the pitch clear for Margaret Thatcher to bulldoze her way through Labour communities up and down this country. I won't let it happen again. Labour needs to unite coming out of this leadership election, and I will do that.
Yvette Cooper, why did you abstain?
Well, let's be honest, this was a mess. There's no point in getting around it. And there were actually two votes. The first vote was a vote against the welfare reform bill. It would have stopped it completely if the vote had gone through, but that's got completely lost under the messy compromise over the second vote. It was an attempt to try and hold the parliamentary party together because there was division and different views, but it didn't even work doing that. So I think we should just keep it simple. There's some huge problems in this bill, including the abolition of the child poverty target, which we have got to bring back. It includes what I call the children tax, which says that if you've got 3 kids, somehow that's a real problem, that's a failing on your part, and you're going to be worse off in work just because you've had 3 or more kids. That's wrong. We should oppose it. There's so much in this bill that is a big problem that let's just keep it simple. When it comes back, if I'm elected leader, when it comes back to Parliament, we will oppose the welfare reform bill.
I'm going to bring you back in a minute.
Welfare cap of 20,000, because I got very mixed messages at the start of
I
this
didn't.
campaign.
Yeah. Liz Kendall.
Okay, Yvette's right, it was a mess. But if we go back to the point that John raised earlier, this is very difficult for us as a party, but many people do not trust us on welfare, and I believe that is one of the reasons why we lost. And so when we oppose what the government does, I think we have to set out our alternative, including how we pay for it. Because the only way we'll regain people's trust on the economy and on welfare is if we can show something different and how we pay for it. So on the cuts to working tax credits, I've said instead of doing that, because that hits poor and low-paid families, why not reduce the £100 billion a year bill on tax reliefs? You know, that's bigger than the entire working age benefit budget. It's barely even looked at. That's why I've asked Margaret Hodge, who was a former chair of the Public Accounts Committee, to look at how we cut that tax relief bill and how we can reverse the tax credits. Now, if I'd been leader at the time, I would have set out a full alternative, including how we would pay for it. Because unless we do that, we won't get people's trust back on the economy, and they won't believe that we can be trusted with their taxes.
Okay, Jeremy, very quickly. The other three abstained. You did not. You voted against. They talk about party loyalty and and that being the reason. Did you not feel that?
This bill is fundamentally wrong. And the Labour amendment was wrong as well, because it included with it approval not just of a reduced benefit cap of 23,000 in London, but of 20,000 outside London. And the whole bill is accompanied by a £12 billion cut altogether in welfare spending. And there has to be something very, very different. I think we were wrong to put forward that amendment, and we were even more wrong not to vote against the bill at the second reading, and we should do so, because if we're prepared to stand up for a coherent, cohesive society where social security is a part of it, then surely you've got to be seen to be totally opposed to a bill that is the very opposite of everything that the Labour movement believes in.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there because I want to move on.